You know that feeling, like you're living this life, but somewhere out there, there's another version of you, living the life you could have had? That feeling, that idea of a divided self, a path not taken, well, that's at the very heart of two incredible, parallel stories we're going to dive into right now.
So, on one hand, you've got Elias Venn. He's a ferryman who spent 17 years in the vast, lonely wilderness up north. And then, on the complete other side of the spectrum, there's Marcus Vrain. He's a factory worker, literally being ground down into just another cog in a giant soul-crushing machine. I mean, two men living totally opposite lives who are about to find out they're asking the exact same question.
And that right there, that's the big question for us today. What can these two stories teach us about who we really are? By following their journeys, we're basically launching our own little philosophical investigation, right? We're going to get into the nature of identity, choice, and all those hidden parts of ourselves, the ones we even hide from ourselves.
So the thing is, both of these guys feel this fracture, this crack in their sense of who they are. It's this deep, kind of unsettling feeling that something's missing, or maybe that something else is there with them. For one of them, it's like a ghost. And for the other, it's a beast.
Let's start with Elias, the ferryman. For him, this other self shows up as a literal doppelgänger. I mean, can you imagine? After a really weird encounter, he goes back to his cabin, this place he's been alone in for years, and there's a man sitting by his fire. And that man is him. Same face, same scar. It's his shadow self, a totally chilling vision of a whole other life.
So what's going on here? Well, Elias finds this mysterious book that offers a clue. It suggests that our identity, who we are, isn't some fixed, solid thing. The book says, the soul is not a stone, but a stream. We are not one self, but many. So what it's really saying is that the guy he saw? Probably not a ghost. It's another version of him from a different stream, a whole other life that spun out from different choices he could have made.
Okay, so Elias is confronting this ghostly double in the middle of nowhere. Meanwhile, Marcus's inner split, well, it takes on a much more primal form. It has to, right? In the totally dehumanizing world of that factory. His other self doesn't haunt his cabin, it stalks his dreams.
Every single night, Marcus escapes the clanking of the machine by becoming a wolf. In his dreams, he's running with a pack through this huge forest, feeling a kind of freedom and power that his waking life has just completely stamped out. And look, this isn't just some random dream, okay? This is his untamed, essential self, and it's fighting for survival.
So, you've got these two guys, right? Both are just kind of living with these divided selves simmering in the background. But then something happens. For each of them, there's a trigger that forces this internal conflict right out into the open. It's a wake-up call, and this time they absolutely cannot hit snooze.
For Elias, it all happens so fast. It's like a series of bombs going off in his 17 years of solitude. First, there's a mysterious passenger, a woman named Clara. Then he sees his own double. And then this strange, ancient-looking book just appears on his table. I mean, his whole carefully constructed world of peace, it's just shattered. And get this, inside that book, he finds this super cryptic message. It's a direct challenge to him, to his entire life. It basically suggests that his whole identity as just a simple ferryman, it's either a lie or, at the very least, just a tiny piece of the real story. He's carrying a lot more than just people across a river.
No, Marcus's wake-up call is more of a slow burn, It's born from the sheer grinding oppression of his life. I mean, look at this. His existence is pretty much all repetitive labor and being totally alone. There's just this tiny, tiny sliver of hope left, and guess what lives in that sliver? Yep. The wolf.
So the more the factory tries to crush him, the more vivid and real those dreams become. They stop being just a nice little escape. The wolf inside him, it's starting to get angry. It's getting restless. This is literally the birth of an internal rebellion against the machine that's trying to erase him.
Okay, so this all brings both men to a point of no return. A moment where they have to cross over and finally confront their other self. But how they get there couldn't be more different. One is a physical journey, a pilgrimage into the frozen wilderness. The other? It's a full-on psychological invasion.
So Elias, guided by that crazy book and by Clara, he sets off on a literal pilgrimage. He takes his boat upriver all the way to this place called the Yoke, which is exactly where the river splits in two. And he chooses the dangerous path, the frozen channel. And sure enough, right there on the ice, his other self is waiting for him.
And then, in this totally surreal moment, he just steps out of his reality and into his doubles. The whole world shifts around him, and who's there to greet him? Another Clara. But this one is his wife, a wife he's known for decades in this other life. When she says this to him, it's official. He's arrived. He's stepped into the very life he ran away from all those years ago.
All right, so Marcus is crossing. Totally different. In his dreams, he's not alone anymore. He's joined by Lena, a coworker, who's also dreaming about the factory. And their rebellion, it's not about escaping anymore. No way. It's about invading. That's their whole philosophy. If you want to break the machine, you have to get inside it.
So in the big climax of his dream rebellion, the wolf pack isn't running from the factory anymore. Oh no, they charge into it. They just flow right through its doors, this wild primal force moving through the guts of the machine, completely unseen by the zombified workers. They are the part that doesn't fit. They are the thing the factory just can't process.
Okay, so confronting your other self is one thing, but living with that knowledge, that's a whole other ballgame. So what comes next? What happens after this huge moment of crossing? How do they even begin to put the pieces of themselves back together?
Well, they both find a way to integrate these other parts of themselves, but they do it in completely opposite ways. Elias, he takes the wisdom from his other life, that life of connection, but he chooses to go back to his solitary path, just forever changed by it. Marcus, though, he fully becomes his rebellious wolf self. His purpose isn't to escape the system anymore, it's to be the flaw inside it. For Elias, the big takeaway here is really profound. Think about it. He spent 17 years just surviving, right? Keeping everyone and everything at arm's length. But after his journey, carrying that memory of the love he could have had, he finally lets someone in. He lets Clara into his life. He stops just surviving, and he actually starts living.
And Marcus? His integration is a total act of defiance. He accepts that the wolf isn't an escape route. It's his true purpose. He's the wild element, the angry gear that's going to jam the works. He is the part of the machine that refuses to run smoothly. He becomes the living, breathing resistance, fighting from the inside.
And all of this leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? These two incredible journeys show us that the parts of ourselves we try to ignore, the what-ifs, the paths not taken, those wild inner voices, they don't just go away, they just wait. So the real question for you is, which part of you is waiting for its quiet journey across the ice? And which part is ready to howl and fight the machine?